everybody. How's everyone doing? I just thought of going live today. It's been a long time, and I guess this is my first live on YouTube, and I'm just waiting for people to join so that we can get the conversation going. I intend to talk to you about pronunciation, the importance of pronunciation in global or international setting. So let's wait for people to join. I just wanted to talk about this one comment that I got under my video wherein someone asked me a very interesting question that why do we need to study English pronunciation? We have different varieties of our regional languages. Let's say Malayalam, we have different varieties of it. We have different forms of Hindi, but why do we need a unified English? So the answer to this question is like pretty simple, but you got to think about it. Let's say these different variations of Malayalam that we have. Okay, now people are coming, so I'm going to repeat this question. I just wanted to talk about the importance of this pronunciation in an international setting. Am I audible? Can you hear me? If you can, just leave a comment. Hey, everyone. I can see that there are people online watching me. So it would be amazing if you could just say a hi or send some messages letting me know if I'm audible or not. Hello. All right, so we're having a conversation of why it's important to study or learn English pronunciation. Hi, Thomas Vijay. Thanks for the message, buddy. It was just one comment that prompted me to go live and talk about this. Under my videos, somebody commented saying that why do we need to study English pronunciation? Why is it important? Okay, thank you, Thomas, for your inputs. And so, why is English pronunciation important? And the question that person raised is that we have different varieties of Malayalam pronunciation and accents across different parts of Kerala, and the same is applicable for Hindi and other languages. Different districts have their own dialect, right? So I guess it's yeah. So this is what his name is, Roshan Thomas. He asked me this wonderful question, like why do we need these? Why do we need to teach pronunciation? Let's say someone is. Let's say consider a native English speaker and you were to teach him any of the Indian languages, let's say Hindi or Malayalam. So we would teach him the standard Malayalam or the standard Hindi or the standard Tamil, right? Not the different dialects, because that's how it's supposed to be. Since we're not native English speakers, we have to we have to learn standard English. When I say standard, I'm talking about pronunciations. There are two forms accepted globally. One is British and American. You can find online dictionaries, but unfortunately there's no dictionary that's available that will teach us Indian English or Indian pronunciation. Therefore, you can have an Indian accent. Of course, that's part of your identity. We're all Indians. You can have our Indian accent because that's what we are all speaking. But when it comes to pronunciation, if you deviate from the standard pronunciation and if you mispronounce words, coming up with excuses like it's how it is, this Indian accent, that would be incorrect and will affect intelligibility, or it will affect how people will comprehend you in an international setting. I hope this makes sense, because it's okay, it works in India if you mispronounce words like visa as visa or develop as develop. It'll work in India for sure, no questions about it. But when it comes to a conversation that you're having in an international setting with a native English speaker or someone from a different nation with a different nationality, that's when things go out of control and you might find difficulties understanding them. And more importantly, they would find it difficult to understand what you're saying. Yesterday, I got a call from an old friend of mine, and he's dealing with clients from the US. And the problem that he was facing is that the person at the other end was not able to understand his English, because in Malayalam or in Indian languages, we don't have this concept of syllable stress, which is the key to English pronunciation. And also, pronunciation is something that has to be taught separately in English, because English is a non-phonetic language. When it comes to Malayalam or any other Indian languages, Hindi, Tamil, these are phonetic languages, which means it's pronounced exactly how it's written. But in English, there's no clear relationship between spellings and pronunciation. That's how this language is. That's what makes English a difficult language to grasp, especially the pronunciation part, because you can look at the spelling, but you still can, you'll fail to pronounce it correctly. So you have to, and it's a must, you have to learn how a word is pronounced right from the first time you come across this word. You learn the meaning, right? That's how you take in your vocabulary. But pronunciation is equally important. For example, the word like content. Content means, a state of satisfaction or happiness. Content is what I do. I'm a content creator. So yeah, little pronunciation can change the meaning of a word and also the form of word. For example, words like desert. Desert is the barren land, and dessert is the food we eat. Dessert is also the verb form of desert. So yeah, pronunciation matters. It affects communication, and that's the reason I am doing what I do. I just want to clarify this because I got this comment asking me why it's important to learn pronunciation. And look at me, look at my example. I've created an entire big page with more than 1 million followers on Instagram and close to 100,000 followers on YouTube just by teaching pronunciation, because this is something that I've always been passionate about. I'm still obsessed with pronunciation. The reason is that when I completed my schooling and when I started watching English movies, that's when I realized that the most of the pronunciations that I've learned from schools and from the people around me were wrong, and I had to unlearn everything. I don't give importance, or I don't try to pick up an accent, because accent, I think, is the next step. The first step is to speak with clarity so that people across the globe would understand you. That's the way I look at this language. And step number one is to fix the pronunciation and syllable stress. Only then should you work on the accent. If you people, I had people texting me asking me, how do I get an American accent? How do I want to speak with a British accent? An accent can only be acquired. All right. So okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Anuradha has asked me a question that I'm Indian and I live in the USA and I mentally feel uncomfortable using American slang. Okay, so first let's talk about the difference between slang and accent. So slang is refers to the, so some words or usages that's native to a particular region. So slang, when you say, for example, in Thrissur you say gadi, that's a slang. It's a slang word, and yes, so it means that's slang. But what you're talking about, I think, is accent. Accent, yes, accent. You can completely use your Indian accent, but just work on your pronunciation. You can think about this as just try to pronounce all the words correctly, and just get rid of that Indian thing. If you focus on pronunciation, and if you're intelligible, if you don't know the meaning, means the ability for people to comprehend what you're saying, to understand you. It's like if you write something and people can't read you, you're not legible. If you speak something and if you say something and people don't understand you, they say you're not intelligible. So intelligibility is something you should work on. Okay, intelligibility means what you're saying should be understood by people that are listening to you. And for that, work on pronunciation first. If you want to pick up accents, great. But the first step is pronunciation. It should be like a ladder. The first step is pronunciation, then the accent. If you try to get the accent first by ignoring pronunciation, that would cause serious trouble, and that's when people might call you out for having a fake accent. That's what fake accent is. If you start with the intonation of the rhythm of the language without fixing the pronunciation, but then it's a fake accent. So Anuradha, just focus on the pronunciation first. Okay, focus on the pronunciation first. Try to pronounce words correctly, and then accent is something that will follow. And if you're uncomfortable using American accent, then don't use it. Use Indian accent. Indian accent is not the stereotypical thing that's shown in movies, like I don't want it, sir. That's not Indian accent. Indian accent is as refined as it gets. For example, Shashi Tharoor is the epitome of Indian accent. Look at how he speaks. He speaks internationally with the the perfect Indian accent. Okay, so yeah, what's the improve the fluency, improve pronunciation, improving pronunciation? Well, I'm afraid there's no shortcuts. There are some patterns that you can use to learn the pronunciation. But if you, my number one tip is every time you come across a new word, don't just Google the meaning. Also learn how to pronounce it. All right, you can keep a vocabulary journal where you write down the words that you learn, write down the pronunciation in your native language, and also try using it. No matter how many words you write down in a book, it's not gonna count as long as you don't use it. There's a Chinese proverb which says what does it say? Yeah, what I hear, I forget. Okay, what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. So what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. And what I do, I understand. What I do understand, you have to keep doing it. So every time you come across a new word, you gotta use it in your speech to get it in your, your repertoire in your brain. The word that I learned yesterday from Robert Downey Jr. was like, I'm giving you an instance where I learned a new word. It was copacetic. Copacetic, which means satisfactory. I mean, this whole experience of talking to you was pretty copacetic. I hope the insights that I shared were copacetic. And that's how I use that word. Yeah, improving pronunciation and fluency. To improve the fluency, you gotta keep talking in this language. That's the only way. I'm not gonna, sell you any gimmicks. The only way you do it is by constant practice and also making the identity shift by where you take on the identity of a lifelong English learner, because no matter how good you are, there's always room for improvement. It's all about learning. I don't consider myself a teacher. I mean, I do teach, I share the things that I learn, but deep in my heart, I'm an English aficionado and also I'm an English learner for a lifetime. That's who I am. Okay, I've got some messages. Vignesh, you're studying in the 11th grade, and I mean, this is the best time for you to learn English, because I started learning English after I graduated. No, not after I graduated. After 12th. Yeah, that's exactly when I started. Okay, Apurv Sardana, how do you pronounce router? So yeah, in American English it's router. In British English it's router. Root or route, both are right. You can use both. Yes. Any other questions? I hope, Anuradha, I have answered your question. Hariharan, how to improve the fluency in English? Okay, I'll give you a quick hack about fluency. If you ask me to talk about maybe astrophysics, I would stutter. I wouldn't be able to talk. I would get stuck because I don't know anything much about it. So the key to fluency is knowledge. If you ask me to talk about pronunciation, I can do that for hours without stopping, because that's something that I know. So first, work on the things that you're interested in. If you want to learn or be more fluent in English, you talk about the things that you are interested in, the things that drive you, things that excite you. That's what you should be focusing on when you learn this language. All right, I hope that makes sense. Hi, Faiz. I got you. Hi. Majul Nazreen. What was your message? Hi, Majula, English teacher. How can I make my children enrich their vocabulary and communication in English? Because children are the fastest learners, right? Children are the fastest learners. All of you are familiar with that fact. So what do we do? Get them exposed to this, to the environment of English. And how do we do it? Number one, make them watch cartoons in English and let them talk in English from a young age, because they'll pick it up, and children can easily pick up accents. So the best thing is make them watch cartoons and child-friendly, children-friendly movies. That would be my suggestion. Okay, do I conduct any session to improve English vocabulary? Right now, I'm building a course, the first of its kind pronunciation course in India, that will help you reduce your mother tongue influence, and it will help you speak with a neutral accent. That's the goal. I don't promote any accent. I mean, it's a personal choice accent. So I promote I having a neutral accent. That's my personal preference. by fixing pronunciation. So if you once you get fix your pronunciation, you can easily switch to any accent of your preference. That's what I believe. So what is it? Hi, Tahia. I didn't see your message. Okay, Vignesh. To tell you the truth, I started my English language learning journey by watching English movies. That's what has propelled me to be where I am, because there are plenty of usages that I've picked up from movies. For example, this one I remember this one usage from the movie Avengers Endgame, and they've used it in like multiple times in the Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the when you say, "I am many things, but this is not one of them." For example, when Gamora, not Gamora, the other daughter of Thanos, what was the name? Nebula. When Nebula says to Thor that my father is many things, but liar is not one of them, which means my father is not a liar. So there are different usages that you can learn from movies. Apura, I'm a fluent speaker, but I can't speak with a native English accent. How can I do that? Okay, so Apura, let me tell you this. To speak with a certain accent, it requires a different set of mouth movements, or what I call vocal setting. Okay, vocal setting, which means the range of motion that your vocal organs go through. That's what we call vocal setting. So you're a fluent speaker, but you can't speak with a native accent. So first, why do you want to speak with a native accent? Is that something that you really want to do? Then what you have to do is you have to create an alter ego within yourself, someone who is like a different identity or a different personality within you, who speaks with an accent. And don't jump into the accent first. For example, we take the word intensity. Okay, intensity. Someone with a clear Indian accent or Indian pronunciation would say intensity, with uniform stress on all the syllables or all the parts of the word. But in the word intensity is stressed on the second syllable ten. It's intensity. So the matter, no, when you change shift from intensity to intensity, that makes a huge difference in your accent, right? And also the word another. A typical Indian would pronounce it as another, with equal emphasis on all the syllables. But when you change this, you use syllable stress effectively. Another, the dada. You see the rhythm? English is a stress time rhythmic language. So step number one is to learn pronunciation and syllable stress, and the accent part you can put it on later. Tahia comments and replies that are like I try, because there are too many comments, and it's just me. I don't have anyone who manages my account. It's me personally managing my account, shooting and posting videos. So sometimes it might be really difficult to reply to all the messages, but I read all the messages. I try to read all of them, and I try to reply to all of them. It's humanly impossible to reply to all the messages. Hope you understand. Thank you, Zahir. Thank you for understanding. Abura, I'm glad that it helped. But it's just a step. You have to work on the foundations. It's a simple example would be, there was the first thing that you learned from school, the alphabet, right? And let me ask you, how many of us know how to pronounce the names of the letters correctly? A, B, C, D. We are even mispronouncing that, the foundational stuff about English. That's what I'm doing in my course. I'm working on this course, and the day one, we're gonna study and learn the alphabet. Okay, A, B, C, D, how to pronounce these. Varun, what accent I speak English? I don't speak with an American accent. Neither do I use British. I don't do accents. All right. I mean, I do voice impressions, and for that I try to imitate certain accents. But in my regular speech, this is my accent. I don't know what it is. I guess the foundation is, of course, Indian accent. So I speak with an Indian accent, and the pronunciation I use is mostly American, because I like pronouncing the R's. But there are certain words that I use the British pronunciation as well. So it's an amalgamation. It's a mix of everything, all the accents that I've come across. That's what my accent is. So it's a mix of everything, but I'd like to call it Indian accent, or yeah, a good Indian accent. That's what I speak with. Jaff, I love you too, buddy. Thank you, Siddhi. Thank you, Leela Ayappan. I mean, It's the accent, I guess. I would like to have a neutral accent, right? Like neutral Indian accent. That's what I would like to call my accent. How can I improve my writing skills for my board exams? Vignesh, yeah. So writing is a different thing, and I'd say writing is easy because we get time to think about it. When you talk about speaking, it's simultaneous process, right? You keep on speaking and thinking at the same time, but you have a thinking window for writing, so you can think about it, compose the thoughts, turn it into beautiful sentences, complex sentences, and then pen it down. So the best thing about writing is you have to work on the input process. For speaking, it's listening, right? You listen and then speak. And most of your listening skills came from your sorry, most of your speaking skills came from your listening skills. Likewise, for writing, you got to read more. Okay. Read more. Okay, so Varun, which is proper thing? Mixing many accents or stick to one accent? I would say sticking to one accent is better. But when you're talking about pronunciations, you can mix up pronunciations, different pronunciations. For example, I can, I can use my certain words are pronounced the British way, certain words I pronounce the American way. For example, I used to have braces. I just took it off a couple of months ago when I was using something called lingual braces, which means the braces were behind my teeth, which affected my ability and clarity of speech. And I struggled to pronounce the American version of the word better. I couldn't say better. What I did is I used the British pronunciation for that word. I started saying better. That's what it is. We can mix the pronunciations. That's totally fine. But when it comes to accents, when I speak with I don't know, I can't do British accent by the time. I'm gonna go, oh, and then now. That doesn't, fit well. So you gotta maintain consistency when it comes to accent. The pronunciation, you can feel free to mix all the pronunciations. Sanat Surya, it's not just the accent. You're using chest voice. I mean, yeah, that's a good observation because when I speak Malayalam, my voice changes because there's something called air placement, which dictates how you sound in language, and the air placement is different for different languages. In case of English, yeah, I guess this is where the air placement is, which means this is where the vibrations are prominent. All right. For Malayalam, I think it's on the cheeks. You can actually start speaking English, and then you can feel the vibration. For example, if I'm speaking English, I can feel the vibrations on here. I hear on my chest, or if I go further deep, I can feel the vibrations on my diaphragm. Yeah, this is how it is. But I'm going to switch to my native language, Malayalam. Then, okay, I'm going to do. അപ്പോൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കുകയെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇവിടുത്തെ വൈബ്രേഷൻ കുറഞ്ഞു, ഇവിടേക്ക് പ്ലേസ്മെൻറ്റ് മാറി. അപ്പോൾ കൂടുതൽ വൈബ്രേഷൻ ഫീൽ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഇവിടെ ആയിരിക്കും. That was me speaking Malayalam to just demonstrate the change in voice and change in air placement. Hi. Ankit Anubhav, I was never a photographer. I mean, I like photography, but I was never a professional photographer. I was an engineer. And Rama English, I haven't been part of any public speaking platform. The only I mean, I do occasional public speaking when I, go for inaugurations or when I'm invited as a guest. I do give talks, and also when it comes to a situation where I were to train someone, like as a mass or a huge audience, I'm up for doing that. I've done that in the past. Rahul Bhargav, can you tell me something about improving the voice modulation or speech? For that, you need to have a language model. A language model, that's the best solution. So, what exactly is a language model? Language model is the person that you wanna idolize. For example, we all have role models in life. A language model is like your English role model, someone's accent or someone's speaking style you want to emulate. You can have, yes, more than one language model. So you keep listening to that person and keep shadowing that person's speech. That's how you practice voice modulation. A simple example of voice modulation is like, let me do Sashi Tharoor. He has this, the rising tone, the end. So I'm going to do the voice modulation because this is how Shashi Tharoor speaks like. But yeah. So what made you shift? Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the next question. Every time I attend interviews, I have words in my mind, but I get nervous and totally fumble. Can you please pass me any tip to improve myself? Okay, now remember at the time when I attended my very first interview. I was nervous AF. What I did was that I knew I was underconfident. I've people around me, they used to think that I'm a loser. That was my identity like 5 or 6 years ago. But when I was at this place for the interview, I knew that the people at that place didn't know how bad I was. So all I did was I faked it. I just embraced the personality that I'd created from watching too many English movies, and I pretended to be that person who speaks English really well. And I'm like, these people don't know how big a failure I was. So I'm gonna pretend that I'm super confident. And I pretended, and that really went well, and I bagged the job. Okay, Rama, which dictionary gives me a good phonetic transcription? You can find phonetic transcription online. You just search for it online, Srikant, and you use Cambridge dictionary. I guess that's what I'm using. I wouldn't say Oxford is not good, but I've been using Cambridge for the last 4 years. Rama, English works. I started pronouncing the word competitor as you taught, but my friend's reaction, why are you showing off? This is exactly what people do when someone tries to grow, or someone works on their personality, or their someone is into personal growth. People around you won't support you. That's not what's expected. People expect you to get stuck, have fun, but that's the difference between a consumer and a creator. You got to be creator. You got to be focused on your growth. So the way I look at it, if I pronounce a word right and people make fun of me, I'm like, I'm not wrong here. I'm the one who's right. And just because many people are doing it doesn't make it right. I remember the first time I got a job, I talked about the job interview, and I went there. What happened was, they asked me like, "What's your designation?" I told them I'm the product development engineer. They're looking at me, development. Who the hell does this guy think he is? But that's the right way to pronounce it. I did not say development just to fit in. No, I'm not going to say that, because the right way to pronounce that word is development. That's how English speakers do it. Just because we mispronounce words and it's common, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do things the right way. I'm not going to, if I know what's right, I'm not going to do it wrong just because many people are doing it. I would not do that, and that's what I recommend. That's the way I look at it. All right. So even if you are pronouncing competitor right and people are making fun of you, let them. But the same people and you, if you are in an international setting, they will be made fun of when they say competitor. And you are the one who's going to be appreciated for using competitor. Yeah, so so which means you're not in the not with the right folks. Okay, change your surroundings. Tahir Sain Sanwar, script for my videos. I mean, I'm not a great actor, or yeah, it's me. If I want to do videos, I have to make the scripts. No one's gonna give you a script and let you act, because I'm not that great of an actor. And so yeah, if you want to make videos, if you want to be on camera, it's your responsibility to prepare the scripts. And if at all someone gives me a script, I don't perform well. For me to do well or be speak with authenticity, it has to be my script. So it's me, yeah, scripting all my videos. Sunil S. Amini Bhavi, have been working English for the last 1 year, but I'm still feeling that I'm the basic level. Do you have any suggestions? Everybody starts with the basic level. Everyone starts with broken English. Okay, we all start with broken English, but then we'll unbreak it. We'll level up. That's what it is. And you have to go through that awkward beginning stage. For example, I don't sing. And let's say if I were to sing, I have to be able to embrace the embarrassment of being a terrible singer at first, right? Initially, that's how I start. I start as a bad singer, and then I work on my skills. Maybe in a couple of years, I might become a decent singer, and maybe 10, 15 years, I might be an expert at singing. That's how it is. That same applies to English or any other skill for that matter. You gotta be able to embrace that awkward phase, or you gotta look stupid initially. That's the only way you do it. So Varun, there's no Indian pronunciation. There's only Indian accent. You for pronunciation refer British or American. That's the standard. Okay, so got some messages. Why can't? Okay, I hope what I said is has been useful for you. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. Varun, as I said, there's no Indian pronunciation, all right? There's no Indian pronunciation. That's not, I mean, I haven't found any dictionary that gives out Indian pronunciation apart from that thing that you see on Google. What I recommend is use British or American pronunciation. You can speak with an Indian accent. For example, okay, I'll show you an example. I talk about the word, what is it? Let's say better or better. In Indian accent, you don't do the this thing for the R. You use the R. That's the Indian R. You can use that R. Okay, program. That's fine. Better. You can use the R in the end with the Indian accent. Tan Tahia Shahin Shanwar environment. Okay, so I'll teach you how to pronounce environment. It's a very simple word. Uh, no matter what you do, don't say environment. That's incorrect. Environment is incorrect. Environment is how you pronounce it. Okay, I'll teach you. Environment, four syllables. Environment, four syllables. Okay, so this is environment. And the stress is here on Y. It's environment. Environment. Okay, that's the best way to pronounce it, environment. But there are three other options. I don't want to give that to you, just because it might be confusing. But however, I'm going to state it just real quick. One is environment, environment. The four ways to pronounce it, but I recommend environment. Got it? How did I start all this, Sri? Yeah, it's a long story. I am a fan of movies. I just wanted to understand, watch movies without subtitles. That's the and yeah.
Life because you can't withstand the hard times and hard things that happen to you, and it takes you too long to recover. You fall.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, how did I start all this? It's a long story, man. I mean, I did explain environment, right? My interaction with Ria Salim was good. Oh, thank you. I mean, that was a long time ago, a couple of years ago at least. So, yeah. And what is it? Yes, environment. I hope and the pronunciation of environment disclaimer. The other one is clairvoyant. Clairvoyance means someone who has got sixth sense. Clairvoyant, all right? Yeah, and yes. What are some of the English speakers I can refer to for vocabulary? English speakers for vocabulary. I guess Shashi Tharoor is the best. He's the best, even better than native some of the native English speakers or anyone. You can someone that you like. Okay, that's you shouldn't act according to my suggestions. You should find a person, or you should look at someone that you admire. It should be a personal choice, right? And if you want to learn pronunciation, or if you want to check the meaning, there's something you just have to Google. Just write the word space def, 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 means definition. Varun, what was the reason you said thank you? I mean, I hope I've answered your question. Any technique? Okay. Surya. Okay, sorry. Before that, Rama English works. Okay. Any technique you followed for voice clarity? No, just the one technique that I recommend to have more, clearer voice is to speak slow. To reduce the pace of your speech and work on your syllable stress. Make sure you're stressing the right syllables. That will enhance your speech clarity in an international setting. Surya. I mean, even though I told you to speak slow, I'm not someone who speaks slow. This is my natural pace of speech, but that's not something I would recommend, especially if you're starting out. Because I speak very fast, so I gotta match the pace of my speech. Surya, actually, I was in, I think I was in, where was I? Tamil Nadu, Chennai. I was in Chennai for a talk at SRM University, and during my talk, during the Q&A session, one of the students asked me to pronounce this word that's spelled WORCESTERSHIRE, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't know that back then, but I taught them how to do it and how to check for it. So what you can do is, it's pronounced as Worcestershire. Worcestershire, with stress in the first syllable, is Worcestershire. Nervousness, that's how it's pronounced. Sini, it's nervousness. What's so complicated about that? Okay, that was it. And I'm planning to wrap this up. If you have any questions, we can just talk about it. The last 5 minutes of the live session. I was not planning on doing this, but I have been planning to grow on YouTube for a very long time. I created this channel 5 years ago during COVID 2020. That's when I created this channel. And I started with voice impressions. I tried imitating the voices of Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. from Iron Man, Tom Hanks from what was the name of the movie? Yeah, Forrest Gump. And then I did Joker from Dark Knight. I did Liam Neeson's character from Taken. This is what I've been doing, and that's why this channel is called Voice of Sreek. And I was exploring opportunities with my voice. That's what I was doing. That's why this channel and my handle is called Voice of Sreek. And I've been consistently posting for the last 5 years, and it's only in the recent 6 months that I've found some growth on my YouTube channel. I've got like I'm nearing like 100K. I've got 90K odd subscribers now. Thanks so much for your support. It means a lot because it's been 5 years. I've been constantly posting videos, and it's now in the last 6 months that I've seen some growth here. Thanks so much for that. And seeing channel, don't skip dinner. I mean, I already had my dinner. I am serious. No, it's just the beard. I need to get a haircut and I need to trim my beard. Thank you so much. Looking see who or where did you learn and from your inspiration? I've always been inspired from the fact that I've been lucky enough to grow myself from a situation that I've always been an underdog. My whole life I've been an underdog. I was bad at everything I do, and then I realized that, and I started working on myself. And learning English has given me this personality that's more confident. My Malayalam personality is very weak, but when I switch to my English self, I'm more confident. I feel better. So yeah, this language has helped me grow, I would say. My favorite public speaker is Eric Edmeades, and for motivation, I look at Robert Downey Jr., the actor who played Iron Man. I love him because he's the epitome of the Phoenix mentality. I believe in something called the Phoenix mentality, where you're destroyed, you've burned out, you're like ashes, and you rise from the ashes. That's how I would describe Phoenix mentality. And I think I have it. Like, no matter how much you fail, you get up and try again. Thank you, Tahi. It means a lot. Yeah, and making videos, and when you watch my videos and when you compliment me, it really makes me feel good, and that is my true reward. So that was it. Any more questions? I think it's time we say good night to each other and end this live session. So any more? I'm going to take one question. Okay, last question. One question. Damn, Arjun, that's an interesting question, man. If I'm stranded on an island and I can watch only 3 movies for the rest of my life, I would watch all 3 movies would be Marvel. I would watch Infinity War, I would watch Endgame, and I'd watch Spider-Man 2. Yes. Sangeet, thanks, buddy. And if you see me like anywhere, I mean, you say hi, come say hi. Okay, I like interacting with the people that follow me, the people that learn from me. I love the interactions when people come to me and say that your videos are nice, and we learned English from you, and that is my biggest reward. Rama English work. One word I faced issues pronouncing, it's birthday. It took me like 2-3 years to learn how to pronounce that word, birthday. Thank you, Sangeet. It means a lot. All right then. Good night, buddy. This is the thing when I go live. I mean, I go live like once in a year. That's how frequent I go live. But whenever I go live and when I see the messages, we see the comments, I find it extremely difficult to end it. The last Malayalam movie I saw was Echo. It's a good one, good flick. Hi Vrinda Shivakumar. Hi, how are you? This is the problem, man. I mean, I find it difficulty ending the live session. Hi Leah. Namaskaram. Yeah, me again. Yes. Thank you, Brenda. I mean, I've been blessed with good genes, and my voice is one of my greatest strengths. I mean, I can't take credit for this because it's thanks to my dad, thanks to my father, thanks to the genes, because it's not something that I've developed. I just got it. It's a gift. Your English, okay, Mrinal, my English feels like I got stuck between two styles. About 80% of it has a strong US influence from movies, and the rest get mixed with British English when I speak. Makes me feel odd sometimes. That's completely alright, man. You can mix up different styles of English, it's completely fine. You can use that, no issues, man. You are speaking English. Thank you, Mariam. Leah, Leah's trying to learn English by watching my videos. Thank you, and thank you. I mean, I'm glad that I'm helpful in some way. First time seeing my live, Vrinda. I mean, first time I'm going live on YouTube on this channel. This is my first YouTube live, and I go live on Instagram, and I've done that only like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, this is my YouTube live, and I'm glad. I don't know how this works in YouTube because I mean, I'm glad that all of you who are here, you saw the notification and you clicked, and I mean, when you saw that I am going live, you came in, you joined the live, you interacted with me, and that's a privilege. My Insta ID is Voice of Sreek. Just search for Voice of Sreek or Insta. It's the same ID, all right? What's your ultimate goal in English language? Ultimate goal is, of course, I mean, there's no ultimate goal, and I need to be better, of course, and keep on improving. And right now, I think I'm in a situation where I can do public speaking, I can go lives, I can speak non-stop for hours in English. I already have developed English personality, but yeah, I mean, at some point, I would like to experiment with accents like clear, proper American or British accents. I would like to do that, but it's not something that I'm very keen on experimenting. But yeah, I would like to try that in some point in the future. I am from Kerala, Vrunda. I'm from Kerala. I'm from a place called Trishur. It's near Guruvayur. The Guruvayur temple is pretty famous. Uh, Running pronunciation course. Actually, I'll tell you this. It's been my long-term goal to end the spoken English industry. Okay, I'll tell you this. I haven't spoken about this anywhere in public, but I guess it's the right time to talk about it. When you look around us, you see lots of spoken English companies, and many of these exist because none of them work. That's what I've observed. Because I've had people come up to me and said that I've tried multiple courses from different institutes, and none of them they're still not fluent. So I don't. My wish or my objective is to end this industry, and a world. I envision a world that doesn't require any spoken English institutes or training, and everyone speaks English with clarity and confidence. That's my objective. That's the kind of world that I want to like manifest. And for that, in order for that, I need to transform people's relationship with English so that people can learn English on their own, and they can evoke their English personality that's asleep between, like asleep inside us. And that's the objective. Okay, that's the objective. And so what was I talking about? Yeah. And for that, I am building a course. I'm working on an institute which is going to be the last stop or last spoken English institute ever in India. And I want to make every Indian speak English with fluency and clarity. And I want to upgrade Indian speakers to an international level. That's my goal. All right. And yes, I'm currently working on a pronunciation course, an intermediate advanced speaking course. This is what I'm working on, and I hope to launch my venture in a month. That's where I'm, and this is the office. This is my office. I've got a team of people who are like super passionate English teachers, and yes, that's the objective. It'll be out very soon. And yes, they have a flagship pronunciation course, which will teach you everything you need to know about pronunciation, everything that the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last 15 years of learning English. I've spent 15 years learning English and pronunciation in detail. I think, yeah, pronunciation part I've dived deep in the last 5 years. Okay, Savita Trivedi, I enjoy your videos like recent one about zero, but movie style ones are over dramatic. I don't know if you have watched that original clip by Dhanush. That's from the movie Tereshmi. My partner, he asked me to recreate that video. He really wanted me to do that, and that's why I did that. It's a tribute for him. I did that for him, and I guess it's not that dramatic as the typical reels that you see on Instagram, because you should see that. I've seen like even more dramatic versions. I've kept it like, low on emotions and drama. And why I do videos like that, it's when I just talk to the camera, talking about, let's say, a grammar rule, a pronunciation rule, chances that it might not go viral or it might not reach the people. So the reason I combine entertainment with education is that it will reach a wider audience. Thereby, I can send the message across a bigger strata of people. That's what I think, and I enjoy doing different kinds of videos. I just don't want to limit myself to one kind of video. I want to do different styles of video. I want to create videos that are engaging, entertaining, and I want to experiment. And I'm also experimenting with my limitations, my capabilities. Yeah, I'm a Toastmasters. I've attended one Toastmaster session. I didn't quite like it. It's not my style, so I'm not a big fan of that thing. Of course, I'm podcast. Yeah, that's something that's in the cards. That's in the pipeline. I'm thinking about a podcast where I bring people who are fluent in English and have deep conversations with them. I've been trying to act for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's only the recent video that has gained me so many compliments, that give me so many compliments about my acting skills. I don't consider myself as a good actor. I'm learning how to act. I don't know the craft. I try. Yeah. So yeah, just trying to make it not so bad. Trying to make it decent. Which is your favorite podcast? I used to listen to the Mind Valley podcast and sometimes On Purpose by Jay Shetty. Yeah, these are primarily the podcast. And there's one podcast by Jim Quick. I listen to that as well. And I also listen to Alex Hormozy and Dan Martello. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So should we wrap it up now? What do you think? Hello? I've been speaking non-stop for the last 47 minutes. So initially, I'll tell you this: the first couple of minutes, I didn't see anyone online. I was like, "Oh my God, am I going live for nothing? Nobody's listening to me." But then now, there are people. So yeah, thanks so much. It was fun interacting with you. Okay, I think I should go now. I should go sleep. Thank you. Bye bye. Now how do I end this? Yes.